Liverpool 2, Brighton 1, and then following that game, Manchester City 0, Arsenal 0, a goalless draw and a win for Liverpool sees Liverpool reclaim top spot, go back on top of the Premier League. It's been a perfect day for Jurgen Klopp's men. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome to another video. Today's video going to centre around the big Premier League action of the day that involved the title race from start to finish. Earlier on today, you had Liverpool who came from behind to beat Brighton by 2-1 to really heat the pressure even more so on both Arsenal and Manchester City. Both title rivals, both title contenders, both were facing off against each other at the Etihad this afternoon. And moments ago, it had finished 0-0, goalless, stalemate, a draw. The points were shared, and it means that Liverpool have leapfrogged Arsenal into first, back on top of the Premier League. A perfect day for Jurgen Klopp's side as the run-in of the Premier League campaign is well and truly underway. The Premier League has been well and truly back this weekend with some big controversies, some big moments, big goals, and plenty of goals at that. But of course, the Premier League title is where it is all focused on right now. Who's going to lift it in this huge three horse race we've got developing? This isn't the be all and end all today, but it is a big step forward for Liverpool, and I think we have learned a lot more about City and Arsenal at the same time. Before we get into all the games and all the talking points and everything, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. And of course, I encourage you to get involved in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your feelings, comments, anything else in between down below in that comment section down below. Let me know anything that you've got to say about the games that have took place today. Anything about the Premier League title race as a whole. I'm sure it'll all make for interesting and great reading. But without further ado, let's get on with the games. Let's get on with the video. Let's get on with the instant match reaction to both games today. Massive for Liverpool. Let's get that one out of the way first and foremost. Massive for Liverpool. Back on top of the Premier League. The perfect result then followed for Jurgen Klopp's men. You couldn't ask for a better day. Wasn't the best of performances against Brighton, admittedly. But they got the job done by any means necessary. And I knew that this would happen. And I think I did actually predict a 2-1 Liverpool win, because I wasn't expecting us to wipe the floor with Brighton. Because Brighton, although they haven't been the same Brighton as they have been in previous seasons in recent times, I know that they still can be difficult to play. And I know that obviously against Liverpool, they tend to turn up and be a bit of a bogey side for the Reds. And I know that obviously with the way that Liverpool like to play, it could have fell into Brighton's hands. And right off the bat, of course, Brighton take the lead inside a couple of minutes. Danny Welbeck on the score sheet. And then later on in that first half, Luis Diaz equalises. He gets an equalising goal. Very well taken goal. Both were actually very well taken goals. But it was the only moment for Brighton in which obviously they really troubled Liverpool. Liverpool, for the most part, were pretty comfortable. I know that Brighton had a couple of attempts on goal later on in the game. I think Lewis Dunk forced a good save from Keeman Kelleher. And I think Adam Lallana went very close to haunting his old club, of course. But apart from that, I felt Liverpool were pretty comfortable. I know that Brighton can play some unbelievable football at times, and their beautiful football is something that I absolutely love and adore. But I think what was seen was a Brighton side that were looking a little toothless. And it was mainly all about whether or not Liverpool could get the goals to go in front in the game. They eventually did. Mohamed Salah in the second half, back in the starting 11, of course, back amongst the goals as well. Finding the back of the net after Alexis McAllister, more on him a little later, found him with a little cute inside pass that found him free inside the penalty area for him to obviously slide the ball home. Luis Diaz thought he had added a third to Liverpool's tally for the afternoon, only to be marginally, and I mean marginal, I mean by the thinnest of margins, by a hair, was called offside. It was extremely close on Luis Diaz to unfortunately not get his second goal of the afternoon, but Liverpool get the job done. There was always going to be a bit of a worry about Brighton with them being on the counter-attack, and obviously the later the game goes, we've seen Liverpool only recently, of course, lose a 2-1 lead at Manchester United, albeit that was in the FA Cup. This is the Premier League, but even so, of course, there was always that nervy sort of ending to the game whenever that happens. But Liverpool saw the game out nonetheless. They did brilliantly well to do that. And I always think it's always important, it sounds stupid of me when I put it like that, but always important to get out to a win after an international break. Sometimes the international break can be a bit of a momentum killer. Sometimes it can be seen as a well-needed rest. And I think for Liverpool, obviously, when they finished things with losing to Manchester United, of course, in the FA Cup, it was seen as a much-needed rest to regather, regroup, and to go again afterwards. And obviously, I think a few of them players as well were picking up a few more injuries and needed a bit more fitness, a bit more time on the training pitch and whatever. So I think that the break came at a welcome time for Liverpool, and I'm hoping that that will obviously become true and obviously somewhat be found to be genuine the more that obviously we go into this final run into the season. Alexis McAllister, what a player, what a signing, what an absolute bargain. That guy is insane, and he continues to improve week in, week out. He continues to get better, and he's just on smoke right now. He is on form right now. He is on fire right now, is one Alexis McAllister, and I'm loving every second of watching his midfield performances. Unlucky not to get a goal today, but at the same time still gets a very good assist, a very well worked assist for Mohamed Salah, who's back amongst the goals, and his goals obviously will be important for Liverpool going forward. Sheffield United to come on Thursday, then the big one on Sunday. Manchester United at Old Trafford. Revenge is on the mind of Liverpool, but I can guarantee you this: United may have slipped up a little bit against Brentford yesterday, but that United side will obviously have the mentality to once again go at Liverpool again. It will be at Old Trafford. It will be another spanner to be thrown in the works of Jurgen Klopp's final season and obviously title running with Liverpool going forward. That United side, they may seem to struggle to get motivated for the likes of Brentford, but believe me, in a big game like that, and believe me, they don't come much bigger games than Man United against Liverpool, those United players will be motivated for that game. So there you have it. That's all I can really say on that one as of right now. We've obviously got Sheffield United to come. We can't take our eye off the ball in that one. That is a potential banana skin waiting to happen. We know that obviously Sheffield United are battling it out down in the relegation zone. We know that obviously that should be 3 points in the bag, but if we take it for granted and if we turn up like the game has already been won, that's where they could shock us, and that's where we could be hit hard. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping the Reds will be very professional in the way that they carry that game out, and I'm hoping that they will get the job done nonetheless and us go into that Man United game still top of the Premier League. Whew, fingers crossed. But yeah, massive week ahead for the Reds in terms of the Premier League, and obviously the Premier League upon its return. But so far so good. The perfect result today, and then obviously the perfect result in a game that they weren't even playing, as their two title rivals battled it out to a goalless stalemate draw at the Etihad, which we'll get onto a little bit later. Mohamed Salah back amongst the goals. Luis Diaz getting an all-important goal. I'm so happy for him. I have been critical of Diaz, I will admit. But I'm hoping that, he may discover a bit of a selfish sort of razor-sharp edge to his goal scoring. Because there's no doubt about his talent. There's no doubt about his skill and his flair and everything else in between. But it's just that final product. It lacks a clinical nature to it, and I'm hoping that he's found that, and I'm hoping that he will find that as the season progresses and draws to its conclusion, because, like I say, massive games coming up that are going to define Liverpool's season from being Premier League title winners to being second or third. So, massive games coming up. Diaz definitely needed. Salah needed. Nunes, of course, didn't go on a score sheet today, but had another bit of a handful performance. I was mainly impressed by Liverpool's press today. Normally, when we play against Brighton, our pressing game is sort of on and off a little bit, and that's where Brighton can really hurt us. But our press was, for the most part, very good today, which obviously thwarted any sort of attempt from Brighton to play their natural style and their natural play. So I thought that was really good of us to execute very well. Just only real downside is that we didn't score many more goals than that, and it wasn't a much more comfortable afternoon. But we still got the job done nonetheless. We still got the victory. And then we moved on to viewing rather than playing, and viewing Arsenal and Manchester City battle it out to a 0-0 draw. Now, it wasn't exactly the most entertaining of games that you're ever going to see this season. It was more of a strategic, defensive chess match between both of these sides. City had the lion's share of possession. City looked like they were going to try and create something. Arsenal looked like they were trying to play on the counter-attack. And I was a bit surprised at Arsenal, really. I would have thought, despite being away from home, Arsenal would have actually taken the game more so to Manchester City. I would have thought that with Arsenal seeing that back line of City's not exactly being at its fullest potential, not exactly being at its strongest, I would have thought Arsenal may have fancied their chances of really going at that back line and really testing it to its limits, especially when Nathan Ake went off injured in the first half and they had to obviously throw on Rico Lewis. I'm surprised in Mikel Arteta that he didn't really go for it, because the one thing I said leading up to this game was that Arsenal should see City there for the taking. And in my personal opinion, they can potentially stop City's title challenge with a win on Sunday. And it would lay down a real big statement to how well they can handle the pressure going forward. Now, I think defensively, they managed to handle that pressure. And it's telling in the way that obviously they kept a clean sheet at the Etihad. Not many teams can boast a clean sheet from the Etihad. But is it enough? Because I think going forward, they didn't offer anything. Odegaard, not that great. Not that great today. Not that great. We've been singing his praises in 4 and 5 and 6-0 victories against, relegation candidates. Didn't really turn up when it mattered most in this one. Saka, pretty much non-existent apart from a couple of big fouls. That's it. Gabriel Jesus, made himself a bit of a nuisance. And on Easter of all days, there's a joke in there somewhere about Easter and Jesus and everything. I can't really think of it, though. But anyway, yeah. Gabriel Jesus made himself a bit of a nuisance to them City players in the defensive line, but nothing really clinical from him. And, we've somewhat come to expect that over the course of his Arsenal career. The midfield, Declan Rice was again another solid display. I thought Gabriel in the back line kept Haaland at bay very well. I thought Saliba was solid as well. Ben White at right back and Kiwior at left back were very disciplined and very good. Just very good overall, whether it be defensively or for Ben White going forward a little bit. He at least tried to offer something down that right-hand side, which wasn't perfectly executed very well. But at the end of the day, Arsenal seemed to play for the draw, and you could really tell that they played for the draw by the way that obviously David Raya got booked for time wasting later on. Again, I'm a little bit surprised. I would have thought that with City being so vulnerable and seemingly being very vulnerable in recent weeks, and obviously with a backline that's not to its fullest capacity, Arsenal would have maybe gone for it a bit more. I was expecting them to use more of Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side. I've been a little bit shocked that they didn't start with Trossard on the left or Martinelli on the left and went with sort of Gabriel Jesus on that left with Havertz pushing through the middle. A little bit surprised. It obviously could work out in the end, and obviously it's not a foregone conclusion that it didn't work out in the end, because we'll obviously have to wait and see later on down the line. But I am a little bit surprised by Arsenal's approach in this one. For City, they are still obviously the team to beat. They are still my favourites, despite Liverpool's current position, despite Arsenal obviously being very strong and being the informed team in recent weeks. They are still that team to beat. And of course, this could be the result that, could set them on their way. They don't really have to face any title rival now. They've got a couple of teams that are in the mix of challenging for European football places. They've got a couple of teams that are going to be facing relegation. They'll have a couple of teams in there as well that pretty much will have a middle-of-the-road sort of season. Won't be playing for much towards the end of the campaign. So they've got a mixed bag of fixtures coming up, have City, and I'd still rank them the favourites to go on and win this. I see there being games that, it sounds stupid again for me to say, but there are going to be points won and lost. There are games there to be won and lost from now until the end of the season. And for me, City are still the ones to beat. I see Liverpool dropping points. I can see Arsenal maybe getting frustrated in big games that see the lesser teams, so to speak, other than the underdogs in those particular games, maybe sit 10 men behind the ball and somewhat frustrate Arsenal, and maybe the pressure does start to get to them a little bit more. We'll obviously have to wait and see on all of that, but I'm interested in all your thoughts and comments on that particular reasoning and thought process there. Of course, for Arsenal, there is another concern. Maybe the international break sort of came at the wrong time for them. Maybe the international break was a bit of a momentum killer. Maybe if they were facing a City before the international break, it could have actually helped them towards maybe putting City to the sword a bit more. I do feel like they were there for the taking, and Arsenal didn't really respond to it in that manner. In saying that, I thought City were pretty blunt in attack too. The amount of times that they got into a decent crossing position out wide, their crossing was not very good. It wasn't picking out Haaland at all. It was just a strange game overall, I think. It was a strange game. Both teams were blunt in attack, but both teams were very solid defensively. I thought Guardiola for Manchester City was very, very good in neutralising Saka in particular. I thought he was very, very good. I thought Rodri again had another solid performance in the middle of the pitch. But again, nothing really going forward. Phil Foden didn't have his usual sparkling display. Erling Haaland was virtually non-existent for the majority of the game. Bernardo Silva was doing more dropping into midfield and helping out the midfield than he was in attacking. It just seemed to be very congested in the middle of the pitch, which is why I think City found a lot more joy out wide, which they didn't really put to good use. They didn't really put anything like that to good use. So again, interesting game, but at the same time, not a classic. Interesting in terms of a defensive display and defensive masterclass, I guess you could say, in certain ways. But not exactly the most entertaining game. What does it mean for the teams going forward? Well, I think City have got Aston Villa next, which could be a massive game for both of those sides. It doesn't exactly get any easier for Manchester City in terms of Aston Villa turning up next in their fixture list. Arsenal, I can't remember for Arsenal now off the top of my head, actually. I don't remember for Arsenal, but I don't think it's anybody too threatening. I think it's Palace. I want to say Palace, but I could be very, very wrong. I don't necessarily remember for Arsenal, but I don't think it's anyone that is majorly serious. So it should be a win for Arsenal to see them get back to winning ways. I'll have to double check that. I could be horribly wrong on that one. But either way, it's a massive day for Liverpool. It's the perfect day for Liverpool. It's perfect for Jurgen Klopp. he said before the game he wanted both teams to lose, and this was obviously the best option for that to happen. Liverpool get the 3 points. They come from behind to beat Brighton. Arsenal and Manchester City both drop points. Liverpool reclaim top spot going forward. They are a couple of points clear of Arsenal as of right now, who are in second. 3 points clear of Manchester's... 4 points clear. Right? 4 points clear. Yeah, 4 points clear at the top, ahead of Manchester City in third. Massive games to come this weekend in what is obviously a double-headed bill of Premier League action. Cannot wait for that all to kick off. The run-in is here. The Premier League is officially back, and Liverpool are back top of the table. Perfect day for the Reds, like myself, of course. And we've got Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah to thank for putting us top of the table, as well as obviously Mikel Arteta's side and Pep Guardiola's side cancelling each other out with a 0-0 draw at the Etihad. Perfect day all round. Absolutely love it. Absolutely wonderful. These are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of the performances today of all four of the clubs that were involved in the 2 games that were spread across the Premier League today? What do you make of the title run, the title challenge? What do you make of Arsenal, City, Liverpool, their chances? What do you make of Liverpool leapfrogging Arsenal into first? All of that good stuff, I'm sure, will make for interesting and great reading down below in the comment section, so please do get involved down there. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated, and as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Instant Match Reaction, and I'll see you all again soon in another video. Peace out, guys. Thanks everyone for stopping by and watching. Up the Reds. Come on, Liverpool. On to the next one. Sheffield United on Thursday. Big game. Massive game. Can't wait.